Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. I appreciate everybody coming by and stopping to see what's going on. So, I wanted to kind of address today how to build your loadouts if you want to be winning Warzone games. There's obviously not just going to be one loadout. You go through a whole series of different things, and there's a lot of thinking and a lot of audibles you got to call throughout the whole game. So, this video is mainly going to address how to do that. Basically, I've got things set up in a very organized way with all 10 of my classes having some kind of purpose for the game. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it. The only thing that I will say before we do get into it is please consider liking the video, subscribing, all that nonsense. I do hope you guys really enjoy this, and if you like it, please feel free to send it off to someone else. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started here. So on our first class, this is going to be kind of our main class. This is what I consider to be the meta, the aggressive class. This is the one that is going to get you the most wins. All right, that for right now is the AMAX and the MAC-10. It could be any combination of a mid to long range gun and a short range gun. All right, you can use a kilo and an MP5. You could use a Grau and a P90. You could use a shotgun with a with M13. Doesn't matter to me. That as long as you are hitting all of your ranges. Something I spoke about in my last video was hitting long range, mid range, and short range shots. And between your two guns, you got to be able to hit all three of those ranges. So that's something you want to be able to do with this class. All right. The next class that's below that, number 2, we currently are using an FFAR and an SPR, which is the same as what I had for my last video. That is basically going to cover the same thing. However, this one is going to cover slightly longer ranges than the previous one. All right. Typically, when you look at the map, anything that's kind of in the northeastern section of the map, those are the areas that I like to use that class for. All right. Anything that is south and west of the ravine that runs through the east side of downtown, anything southwest of that, I typically like to run my other class. But anything that's in farmland, lumber, quarry, dam, all those things, I typically like to run a sniper. Military base, all that kind of fun stuff. So those are the two classes, and those are the situations that I pick those in. All right. The next 3 classes are going to be ghost classes. All right. Ghost is extremely important. When you run ghost, you want to make sure that you have a weapon that's going to fit your need for that time. You know, a lot of the time you're spawning into the map and your zone is looking like it's going to end up going towards dam, and so you're like, okay, well, let's get our loadout and we're going to get a sniper. But then, you know, things don't happen the way that they typically do, and then the circle ends up looking like it's going to go towards like airport suddenly, and you're like, okay, well, when we get our ghost class, now I can pick my Mac 10 and change out my sniper, and then I have an FFAR and a Mac 10. And then vice versa. If you pick something that looks like it's going to go towards like airport storage town, and then suddenly the circle looks like it's moving over towards dam, then it's like, okay, now we need to pick up our sniper for the later stuff. The ram is kind of that mid option. So it's like if you pick up something like your sniper class, and you feel like you're hitting good long range shots, maybe you decided, or maybe you just decide to go with Ghost right off the bat. Let's say you pick up a sniper that you like to use. If you pick up like a Pellington or a Tundra that works in your favor and that you've hit some good shots with, and you feel like you can make that work for the time being until you get your next class, then by all means pick up a Ghost class that has your assault rifle on it. I chose the Ram for that specific class because it hits mainly mid-range, but it does seek into those other 2 ranges. It can hit some of the longer range shots depending on what you put on it, and it absolutely destroys people close range. I think the Ram is an all-around weapon, as I've said before. So that's what I kind of chose for that class, and so there's 3 classes right there that are specifically for Ghost that will get you, what you need. And for those 3 Ghost classes, typically I put down a rocket launcher just because, 1, you never know if you're going to need to be able to fight off a vehicle. 2, if you pick up a Ghost class right off the bat, you don't want to be stuck with a pistol. That's just not gonna it's not gonna work. And then third, coming with that is that you know maybe your teammates need an extra weapon. You don't want to stick them with a pistol. Um, So that's kind of how that typically works. Now the next three classes I basically have set as different variants of those same first two classes. All right. I do recommend that at least one of those three classes be like a restock class, and that you just kind of try that out. Um, you know, maybe even throw tracker on one of your classes if you're looking to experiment with some stuff. That's something that you can deal with, but that's something we'll kind of get into later. Um, but I like I said, Grau MP5, Val, AS Val in the Car 98, the MP7 in the Car 98. The MP7 in the Car 98 is a fantastic class. If you run that, you're hitting you're destroying people short range with your MP7, but the MP7 also has the capability of hitting people that are longer range, in that mid to long range, range. And then the Car 98 is obviously a fantastic aggressive sniper, so it's a really good aggressive class. Um, Now, the ninth class that I have there, I call Endgame Return. This is specifically if you spawn in, somebody buys you back, or you gulag at the very end, and that loadout is sitting there. You've got nothing. It's just you and the last couple teams. You don't want to drop in a tiny little circle with a loadout and get your regular class, because even though your regular class is extremely powerful and you have really good weapons on it, you're also going to be on people's UAVs. And that's a very, very tough place to be with UAVs. If you don't have Ghost on, then you're going to end up basically just exposing yourself, because everybody's going to have UAVs, everybody's going to have heartbeat sensors, and everybody's in a close, tight knit area at that point. So it's a lot easier for them to see you. If somebody pops a UAV, they're going to see everybody that is in that circle at that point. So the endgame return is a ghost class that I set up, that is going to hit those mid to short range things. I actually use it with an MP7, so I recommend the MP7 as the gun to use for that specific class. But the kicker is that this one I actually do use a pistol for the secondary weapon, and the reason being is that you want to make sure that when you're in that end game situation, you have ammo. So that pistol that I have, I actually set it up so it has fully loaded attached to it, and then by doing that, that means that my MP7 is going to be completely full on ammo. At that point, I can drop the pistol whenever it is that I find something else, if I find something else. But I would much rather have full ammo and Ghost on an MP7 than to have an AMAX and a MAC-10 with almost no ammo, especially in the late game circles and be on people's UAVs. So that's kind of what that one is made for. The last class I set as chat's pick, but realistically, what it is it's meant for the purpose of just trying new things. When I was talking about trying out the Grau MP5, the Val car, the MP7 and car, those are classes that you should try. And realistically, any of the classes that I mentioned in my last video, you can go and throw them inside of your 10th pick. Your 10th class, because that 10th class is going to be used to try new things. You want to try doing a riot shield and a cleaver? I've done that before. It's hard, but I got a pretty decent amount of kills with it, and you can learn how to do new things, and you learn how to take fights a little bit differently. So it's meant just to try new things, which does end up making you a better player, which is why I also included it in this video. All right, because it's not as simple as just saying, you know, by trying new things, oh, you just want me to try these things that are less. No, no, no. This is by trying something that you don't use before, you learn how to take fights differently. You learn how to fight them at different ranges. You learn how to take different back doors if you need to be more patient with a certain gun. You learn all those different things. So that's pretty much what that is there for. So to kind of recap on this, we've got our two main classes, three ghost classes, three classes that kind of change it up a little bit but are still hitting those same ranges. But I would recommend that one of those three ends up either being like a restock or some other kind of perk class. I recommend doing restock with stuns and Semtex, Thermite, whatever it is you want to run, because there are some situations where maybe you just don't care about whether or not somebody knows where you are on UAV. You just want to be able to take the fight when it comes down to it. And if you're in like solos, that's perfect. That's fine. You're not going to see a lot of people on UAV anyways. But sitting inside of solos, if you have a restock class and you're just throwing stun after stun after stun, nobody's going to be able to fight you. So that's a good way to do things. And then obviously, like I said, we have our end game return, which is for really really late game in that fifth circle when it drops. I think around 45 seconds or so, and then chats picks slash try new things class. Um, but that's pretty much all I really wanted to talk about today, guys. So thank you so much for joining in. I really do appreciate it. I hope you guys really did enjoy this video. It was much shorter than my last video, but I think that we hit all the points that we needed to. So, once again, feel free to like, subscribe, comment section down below. Tell me anything about your class list that I might have missed that you think is more valuable or helps out your game. If there's a situation that I didn't cover inside of this that having a specific class does, become an advantage for you, let me know, because not only do I want to be able to amend that and tell everybody here that, but I also want to be able to use that for myself as well. Because that's what we're here to do. We're here to make sure that we're all getting better. We are all here to be better Warzone players. So thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you being here, and I will talk to you later.